Hi, my loves. Oh, I don't even know where to begin with this video. Honestly, I do not know where to begin. I've just had the, oh my god, just words fail me. Words absolutely fail me. Something has just happened right literally about 15 minutes ago that just made me go, you can't make this up. If anyone has been following, well, I know a few of you have, for the last couple of however long, like the last few messages, there's been a ton of synchronicities with a lady called Nikki who does the Divine Love Crystal Grid. So I will definitely be telling her about this. But like, oh my god, my mind is blown. I've been trying to make some comments and stuff because I never do that normally, but I love your comments and stuff, and please keep them going. I know I haven't been able to reply to all of them individually because I just, you know, I haven't had time to write down a script for this, and there's so much to say. I'm probably going to forget something, but it's just totally off the cuff because I just don't have the time. It's just getting busier and busier. I do have a bit of free time today though, so, and it's no coincidence because I just have to tell you what's going on because I'm sure there'll be some developments very, very soon. But first, so I don't even know where to begin. It's just mental. Like, you're gonna love it. You are going to love this. And don't you just love how much my hair, I'm just looking at my hair, it's grown so much in 2 weeks. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so if you remember, I'll start from when I first came on this yoga course, and you'll remember that the twin and I were in separation, and I was in the yoga center where I am right now for a 6-month teacher training course. I was here about 6 weeks prior to coming here, and I was there on a detox. And just for the duration of the course of that detox, the twin came back into contact with me and then decided to you know, go off with the karmic. And I literally, I was just different. All of the, you know, the codependency, everything just completely disappeared. And I found him quite revolting for a really, really long time, and I didn't like that. I was like, I'm gonna go off and be a Hatha yogi, and Hatha yogis accept everything. And then I arrived on the course, and we arrived on a day called Guru Purnima, which is the full moon that we dedicate to the Guru, and the Guru principle, as in all the Gurus who have, you know, dedicated their lives to enlightening humanity, really. And my guru, obviously being a realized being, he's like fully established in that, and he's absolutely phenomenal. Does a lot of meditations, and the meditations that he does, in, you know, are very, very, very powerful. Anyway, it was like being at a music festival or something like that. It was absolutely phenomenal. And he was all about the one thing he kept, the theme pretty much was acceptance, and that was the one thing I was having challenges with. And I was just, and when I arrived, the emotions that I had just, you know, really kind of intensified, and I was like, oh my god, you know, blah blah blah. I was feeling really, really like there was so much resistance to accept things just the way that they are. And then you know, it slowly kind of subsided. I had my ups and downs, and it slowly kind of subsided. I've been here maybe about 2.5 weeks. And aside from the fact that 3.5 feet of hair is gone, a lot has changed, and I'm just, oh my god, I just wanted to make a video yesterday. Obviously I made the one about the Panchabhuta Aradhana, the element cleansing ritual, and that was amazing. The day after that, me and my roommate, actually, we both kind of felt sad for no reason, and I was like, oh, is it this, is it that, is it blah 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 blah? It could have been any of these things, and I always know what upsets me. We just couldn't figure it out, and I was like, okay, it must have been something from when I was such a young child that I don't even remember, or maybe it's a past life or something. But then after that, I just felt great again, like even more light. And so yeah, yesterday I had a bit, let's go in order. No, a few days prior to that, I had a dream where my twin, let's just say it was maybe about 3 or 4 days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, and he sent me a text message in this dream. I don't know if he was in the dream or not. I very rarely remember my dreams, and I never dream about the guy, and like it was really strange. I think he might have been in it for a bit, but I don't have any recollection. But the text message was really odd. He was saying how he wanted to complain about the karmic to me, and it's something about time, it's taking too long, and everyone says this, and it didn't make any sense. But and half the text message, it was just really weird. You don't need to know the details, I don't think they're that important, but the impression that I got is that he was very dissatisfied. And I was like, whatever, it's fine. But the great thing was, when I've had dreams about him before, like since being in separation, I think I've had about 4 dreams of him. And this one, like the others, I'll tell you quickly about the others. Like the one was, he likes to hike, right? So he was on the mountain, but he wasn't looking at me, I don't think. And then in another one, and that was just that, it wasn't really anything. And then there was another one, and these were all when I was still in the UK. So more than, 6 weeks ago, maybe, I don't know. But the other one, he was sliding down the mountain, like literally like it was a slide. But he was, and a big bunch of guys were doing it as well. And they were like, they looked like right bros or something. And they were all going down on the left-hand side. And then he was on the right, but he was kind of trying to join in, but he was slightly separate. And like, or something, or maybe they were running and he slid down or something. It was really weird. But what I got was like, there was a longing to either fit in or be like the other guys and catch up with them or something, or run with them. But there was a sense of him feeling a little bit different. And I was like, at this point, I was like, why am I seeing this? I don't care. Like, get away from me sort of thing. I was still very much in that, like, get away from me kind of energy. And there was a lot of resistance, basically. And then I was like, whatever. And then there was another one. This one was ridiculous, and it really, really, really made me laugh. And it was the karmic and him and some random other people, random other guys. I think mainly guys, there was probably girls as well. But they were performing on a stage and he was dancing. And it was literally like some ridiculous kind of like boy band, girl band, which I can't stand. I cannot stand them. And yeah, like he was doing this ridiculous routine, but she was in front on her own, and he was in the middle of a line of dancers. And I was like, this is so weird. It was all basically, and this is what later clicked, is it was all for show. It was all for show and keeping up appearances, and he was dancing to her tune because she was the one like talking with the microphone. He didn't have a microphone. He was just dancing along and doing whatever he was meant to do and literally performing. I remember waking up thinking he was performing like I don't know, like a circus seal or something, circus walrus, I don't know. It was a performing animal. It was really, really funny. And I was like, it's ridiculous. Like, why am I seeing this? Like, and I'm sure there was another one as well. There was like about 2 or 3, I don't know, but those were the 2 that I can remember right now. And then I was literally like, ugh, get away from me. Like, why am I seeing this? Like, leave me the fuck alone. And pardon my French, leave me alone. And I basically said, don't come to me in my dreams. And because there, again, the resistance was there. There was a complete lack of acceptance. And it only really, I noticed a massive difference when I had the dream a few days ago, because obviously he didn't want to come in my dream. He didn't appear. It was just a text message that I remembered. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then I remember thinking, I must have done so much work, because now I can actually be with this and accept it and not get all resistant about it, blah blah blah. And then yesterday I realized, no, his energy was different as well, because his heart was a lot more open. That's what I felt, even though it was, I just got that from the text message and an image of him that seemed to pop up in my head as well. But anyway, so I was like, oh, that's really, really lovely. And then from that, I kind of got a whole different perspective. And yesterday was a weird one, because like I had to rush to class. It was raining. It's been raining, crazy rains in India. My dad actually messaged me for the first time since being here. He's been like ignoring all. He hasn't had time to like respond to any of my text messages saying, how are you? But this time he actually messaged me to say, are you okay? Because other states have been, going through flooding, but we're fine here. It's beautiful here, lovely rains. But like, I've lost my train of thought now. I fell over on my way. I hurt my leg, so I was in a bit of a bad mood. And then, someone walked over my notes, my very sacred notes from the course. And if you're Hindu, if you're from India, like you never put a book on the floor, you never touch a book with your foot, because it's knowledge, you respect it. So when this girl walked over the book, like the rage came, and that was the first time I got angry since being here. Literally the first time I got angry, and it went immediately, but I was a witness to it. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's going to be an interesting day, maybe. But that was that. And then after that, I came to this realization that I was just really, really happy for whatever the twin was doing. I was like, you know, he's had such a difficult life. He's just had such a hard childhood. He's worked so hard in his job, and his job's been challenging. And, you know, he had a very difficult marriage for a long time. And I just thought it's about time he just really got to enjoy his life. And I'm happy for him, if, you know, for him to be really happy. If he is or not, I don't know. But I could definitely feel that it was starting to happen. Something was starting to happen, and I was like, good for him. And I honestly felt his happiness was my happiness. And that's a strange thing, because I remember when I had the dream, and I didn't get too annoyed about the fact that I had a dream, that and it very much felt like he came to my dream. He wanted to tell me something. And I was like, oh my God, this is such a difference from when I first came here. And I was literally like, no, I'm so angry about this. And I'm so angry at myself for actually even, you know, giving this person the time of day and for doing all the things that I did. And that went after a few days, but it was still there a little bit. And by the time I got this text message, that wasn't there at all. And I was like, wow, I've come so far. Wouldn't it be amazing if I could actually be accepting? Wouldn't it be amazing if I could actually get to the point where I could be almost like a real yogi and, you know, just be cool with whatever and just be ecstatic with whatever. And then yesterday, of all days, like 2.5 weeks into this program, and I also remember during Isha Kriya, which I'm always recommending, because we do Isha Kriya every single day. It's one of the last practices that we do, because it's very subtle. It's a subtle process. Which means that if you do it initially, you might not feel it working as much as certain other processes, like say Shambhavi Mahamudra, which is what they teach in inner engineering, or certain other practices, but it works. It's very, very, very powerful. So do stick with it if you do it, and it's free, and it's just so easy. And I felt like I was floating. Literally, I could feel like my spine rising. I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is great. So that was beautiful. There's one guy in the class who literally starts making weird noises, like whenever it comes on. And on the first day, he just put his hand up and he was like to the teacher, why do I do this? Why does my body shake? Why? And he's like the only one, I think, that it happens to. Everyone else has like these experiences, but he kind of loses it a bit. It's quite funny. But so that was great. That happened to me. I was like, oh, I'm floating. This is great. It was really powerful. And then after the session, after the asanas, which are the yoga postures that we do a few different practices. We do Upa Yoga, which is to limber up the joints. Amazing. We do something called Surya. It's like another practice, which is like a very spiritual version of Surya Namaskar, which is the sun salutation. And then we do the yoga postures. It's all yoga, but the postures are just one posture, break, one posture, break, one posture, break. They're so powerful, because I literally yesterday was just feeling so light, so energetic, so literally like almost as if my body was just made of clear air channels, and I could just skip like a dream through existence. It was amazing. And that was that. So that was great. And then after that, I just had this realization. I was studying like a madwoman for an assessment that I had. We have those all the time, and it's like a workout for my brain, a workout for my emotions, a workout for my mind, which I've already said, and a workout for my energy, obviously, as well as the physical body, which is the great thing about authentic classical hatha yoga. So not the fake stuff, because that's just, if it's treated like an exercise, it's just going to be an exercise. It's not an exercise, it's yoga, it's everything, it's very holistic. Anyway, and it's very transformative. So after this, all the practices, this amazing practice session that I had, that was when I had this breakthrough with, oh my God, this is how I feel, and isn't that wonderful? I'm so happy for him, and oh, he really deserves it, blah, blah, blah. All this like sunshine and roses stuff, and I kind of, you know, just feel like that with everything and everyone. But then today was a different kettle of fish completely. I was blown away, I was slightly freaked out, and then in the same like morning session, yesterday I had a great morning session. We do 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the evening of practice, of physical practice. So in the middle of my 3 hour practice actually today, we were doing a Shavasana, which is the corpse pose. It's a relaxation pose where you're just on your back, lying supine, the corpse pose. And the reason I'm saying corpse pose is, do you remember my last message when I said the divine masculine needs to die? And also, obviously, we have the divine masculine aspect in us as well. It needs to die. And I was in Shavasana, the corpse pose, when this happened to me. I had an out-of-body experience, pretty much. And not just that, the twin shows up. I'm not going to tell you the details because, one, you don't talk too much about your spiritual experiences, because in my tradition anyway, and that's because it can be different for different people, and expectations just cloud your mind, and you're trying to get away from that and just be and experience it all. So I was in Shavasana after doing the Surya Namaskar, which is actually a Surya Kriya. It's a Kriya, so it's an inner energy process that we do. It's very powerful. It's wonderful. I'll be able to teach it hopefully, like from the new year. It's one of my favorite practices. And I was lying down, and all of a sudden I was very, very relaxed. All of a sudden I see the twin, and he's talking to me. His energy is absolutely phenomenal, so great, and I was really, really happy to. Actually, I was just quite like, what are you doing here? Like, what? Anyway, I ended up having, it almost felt like some kind of major light or something. My body just turned to light. I was light, and more light came in, and he was there 1 second, and then the light happened, and it felt amazing. Like, it was like a physical sensation. Amazing, that's all I'm going to say. And after that, I was floating. I was rising above my body. I could move. And it freaked me out because I was like, hang on a minute, I'm willfully doing this. And I could feel it. First I could feel it. It was almost like subtle nerves stretching, and then it was almost painful. And then I sort of started to tense up, and I was like, what's going on? And then I went back. I'm telling you a bit way too much here, but that's kind of what happened. And then I was like, okay, enough of this. I was looking around, I could see things. I was in a different part of the ashram for some reason, and I could see, yeah, anyway, it was a very, very, very crazy thing. It was so powerful. He was talking to me, and he was just basically, it was a bit X-rated as well. Anyway, and the fact that this happened when I was in the middle of a spiritual process, in a consecrated space, in, you know, my Sadhguru's like place as well, I was absolutely blown away, and it freaked me out to the point where I was completely overwhelmed. I kept wanting to fall asleep after. In fact, one of the guys, I think it was actually, one of the guys yesterday asked the same question, like, this happens to me in Shavasana. Is that normal? Does it happen to anyone else? And I was sitting there thinking, no, it doesn't happen to me. And then the very next day, it happens to me. The teacher basically was like, don't worry about it. It could just be a dream. And I was like, this was no dream. This was absolutely no dream. And a lot, I don't even know what to make of it. I was struggling to do the practice afterwards. It wasn't really very, very like properly done, but I recovered after that, and I was absolutely gobsmacked. I was like, I have to tell everyone about this. And then, just a few minutes ago, I just checked my Instagram, and I find out that my twin has just requested to follow me from like some new account that he's just created, and I was like, no, wait, no, what is going on? I have no idea what's going on. It could have been a mistake for all I know, but I will keep you posted. I wanted to make this video before I, you know, communicate anything with him, just because this is out there, and I wanted to just say all the crazy things that have been going on over the last few days. And of course, all of the messages with Nikki as well, again, which has all been in this space of time. I also wanted to quickly tell you guys, since the book is here where I made a note of this stuff, just to tell you guys the synchronicities that I have been seeing. Okay, so I've obviously told you about the frog, which everyone was like, the frog prince, blah, blah, blah. I did actually see a leaf right outside of my door, heart-shaped leaf, and it was weird because the leaf wasn't heart-shaped, but it had browned in a certain way, and the bits that weren't brown were in a perfect heart shape, and it was left on the mat of my room door outside. So that was crazy, and I was like, oh, another heart-shaped leaf, great. Go away, I don't want to see any more, because that was still in very much the lights have gone out. Because there's been a power cut. Let's see if I can still read this. Oh, they're back. Let's see if I can still read this. Oh, and this was another one. So on one of the first days, after the Guru Purnima program, which lasted 3 days, 2 or 3 days, after that, there was a game that we were playing when we met everyone, and it was to learn our names. So as the teacher was telling all the different groups how to play, that the example of someone's name that they use, and bearing in mind there are like about 85 guys here. There are a few more guys than girls, but it's roughly 50-50. Most of them are, do not have Western names. There's a handful of people that do have, English names, people from all over the world. But the name that they decide to use as an example, and nobody has this name, no one even has a foreign equivalent of this name. So-and-so is over there. Who is so-and-so? It's my bloody twin's name. And I was like, what? He's in the room? Okay, that's a message for me. Okay, fine. So that was bloody bizarre. Because they literally said he's there in the room or something along those lines. So do you remember those bikes that I told you about, the B-twin bikes, the black and white B-twin bikes that I saw for the first time last time I was in the ashram, just after asking a question, and I saw two B-twin bikes that were identical, and they were facing opposite ways, and I remember thinking they looked like the star sign symbol, which is Cancer, of the twin. And so 30 or so of the guys that are doing the course are staying quite far away from the hall, so they have to bike here. It's like a 5-minute bike ride, so they all got bikes. And what bikes did they get? There's about 30 of these B-twin bikes, the exact same colour, model, everything, every day parked outside the yoga hall, and also where I'm staying, because I'm right next door, haha. There was one day where I saw 1111. I haven't really been looking for these number synchronicities. I have seen them, but this time I saw 1111. This was a few days ago. Someone told me I would get married soon that day, and another girl basically made a reference to the North Star, which is something that has a meaning for the twin and I. I also saw a 60th birthday. There's like a wedding ceremony that Hindu people do for the 60th birthday of the husband. I saw that, and I saw an actual wedding, totally by chance, and those are linked to other synchronicities that I've seen here before to do with this journey. So that was a bit crazy, and it was something that I've always wanted to see, and I was right at the front for both of them, totally by chance. I was just meditating in the temple, and then I had to stay. It turns out that my roommate is also of the same star sign, and randomly, she didn't put it there, a t-shirt that said "Our favourite Cancerian" showed up on my bed, and this was on a day, I think, that I got the text message in the dream. So that was interesting, and I was like, because there was still resistance in me then a little bit, and I was like, this is just weird. Wouldn't it be nice if I could actually get to a stage where I wasn't feeling like this and I was just completely accepting of it? Never thinking in a million years that it would happen, anytime soon. But when you do yoga in a consecrated space, in the proper form, when it's a live process, because what I'm going to be teaching, what I'm going through right now, it's a live process of yoga. It's very much alive, and that's why it's so powerful. And I will be able to bring that to you guys very, very soon. So I hope some of you will join me. So that was that, our favourite Cancerian, and I was like, huh, as if. And then at lunch, I was late for lunch, not late, but I was a little bit late for lunch, basically. And the fruit for the day was bananas, and there was one that was kind of put aside for me, the closest one to me, and it was a twin bananas. I never even knew such a thing existed. So it was just 2 bananas in 1 banana skin. I was like, okay, it's the closest one to me. I'm the only one here. It's clearly meant for me. So then, of course, the other thing was during the Guru Purnima, apart from it all being about acceptance, the big new meditation that was done was based around the infinity symbol, which is a symbol that comes from India, and yogis discovered it because it's the energy that happens around here when their energies are unbounded, when they are kind of, so the 0 comes from India as well. If you talk to any yogi worth their salt, that's what they'll say. So nothing and everything, the 0 and the infinity, that's where it's from. It's from yoga, and that's the way that your energies move when you're in an unbounded state. But I was just faced with this symbol for 3 days when I really didn't want to be thinking about it. And then there was another strange thing that happened the other day, this was yesterday actually, and I was in the Dhyanalinga, which is the energy form that I was telling you about, the yogic temple. I was doing my meditation, and for some reason I was like, what have I written? I had my eyes closed, and I had this kind of sarcastic joke kind of nickname for him. Not really for him, because he never really earned a nickname from me when we were together, really, as such. So I didn't really have one. But as a joke to one of my friends especially, I used to call him Captain America, just as a bit of a sarcastic kind of, almost like affectionate jibe, but a jibe. And that's kind of like, it kind of stuck. But I was in the Dhyanalinga thinking about, what was I thinking about? I was, the weird thoughts about marriage and my future and all kinds of things were just coming into my head. And I remember, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was just like confused about the whole thing because of all these weird signs that I was seeing. I was seeing all these synchronicities, and I think it was just after I'd made this list that I was in there. So it was on my mind, and I was like, well, what the heck is going on? What am I supposed to do? Give me a sign almost. Because I was very much thinking about soulmates as well. I was like, oh, you know, because before I thought I was going to come on this yoga course and I was going to find a soulmate and meet this guy. Because I really did have it in my head years ago that I was going to meet this guy from a certain part of the world who's the same religion as me, who's, you know, into all this stuff. And it was going to be wonderful. I was going to, you know, run off with this guy. And I get here, and one, I'm not interested in it. And two, nobody's interested in it here. People are literally just completely focused on practice. I mean, you know, that's all anyone wants to do because, oh my God, I've another thing I was thinking was, I'm just so thankful to be here. Like all of the shit that's happened between the twin, everything in my life that I've loved, everything in my life that I've not loved, like all the bad stuff. I was, you know, a few childhood things were coming up as well while I was here, but no intense purging. It was just kind of like they come up, you observe them, and that's that. You see it for what it is. And then, you know, you just carry on living your life. And then, funnily enough, the next day you're feeling great. And it was crazy because I was just, everything that's happened has brought me here. And this is the best place in the world for me. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. This is my passion. I've shirked this for so long. I've been afraid to take on the responsibility of actually bearing this. And this is my dream. Like, it's honestly, it's my dream. This is, it's just what I'm here to do. I'm here to just champion yoga, authentic yoga as well, in the traditional way, because it's all about, it's been preserved in my culture for thousands and thousands upon thousands of millennia of years. And in the space of 100 years, it's become so warped by other parts of the world. And I'm just about bringing that all back. It's not something to be exoticized. It's not something to be morphed. It's not something, because, you know, it can't be improved upon. Every change is not an improvement, it's a dilution, and that's very, very important to remember, and some of them can be quite dangerous. So hopefully you'll watch me as an example and be like, okay, this is something, there's something in this, because now I can finally tell you what happened at the end. Oh no, I already told you. I already told you, like, yeah, I come back from my session today, and after having that out-of-body experience, which he showed up in, and it was so powerful. It was literally like, oh my God, knocked my socks off. It literally swept me off my feet. And I didn't know what to think, and I was really overwhelmed. I was like, nah, got nothing but love for that guy. And I'm just in that place of accepting whatever happens. I'm like, nah, it's all good. And then I really also thought it's going to happen one day. And then, I just couldn't believe it. Literally, it felt like some kind of merge. It was just crazy. It was amazing. And I hope it happens to everybody. and then I get this request, this follow request thing or he started following me on Instagram, which I'm never on. And I was like, crazy. Okay, I'll send the request back, but I you know, I'm not rushing into anything. I'm not gonna count my chickens before they have hatched. I'm not gonna build any sandcastles in the air anymore, because that's not what I'm about. For a really long time, especially during the time where I was like interestingly enough, with Instagram, it's always about Instagram. Like, you know, when he posted the picture of the comic and went completely AWOL with me, it was on Instagram. And when he first started Instagram, like, and we've messaged on Instagram as well after periods of not being in contact. It's always been on there. But funnily enough, the first picture he ever put up on Instagram was something that was referring to me, and it was this woman with dreadlocks. Shiva, Lord Shiva has dreadlocks, by the way. And she had a shield. She was a warrior, and she was, you know, I'm the goddess of war. She was wearing a shield, and she had a sword. I'm also the Queen of Swords, so, because I'm an air sign, so... Anyway, it was very, very, and she looked a bit like me, so, when I had her. And that was the first picture, and I was like, oh, okay, that's like, and he was like, that's you. And I was like, okay. And then it was like, I kept seeing this image of me again, very, very recently, and only after I'd gone through that time when, you know, after coming back from the detox where we were in contact, and then, you know, he goes off again and blocks me, and I was like, this is such bullshit. Why did I put up with this shit for so long? No more. And I kept seeing myself, I was so in that no nonsense Queen of Swords energy, and I kept seeing myself having two swords in each hand because there was no shield. I was like, I don't need any protection from anything. This is like, attack is the best form of defense kind of thing. Cut, just cut all the limitations, all the connections as well in a weird way. Just let go of everything, cut all the cords basically. And it's 31:31 as I said that on the timer. And one last thing, there was a message that came through today, and that was, I had another vision from several years ago when probably the last time I actually saw him, which was in 2015 after a bullshit yoga teacher training course which I did in Rishikesh in India, where I was the only Hindu person there, and it was, even though, I'll tell you about that in a separate thing, but it was run by Indian people, but it was so commercial. It was the reason that yoga is BS in so many parts of the world, and it can actually be really dangerous and damage you, so be careful. But I found this now, and it's amazing. But anyway, I straight after doing that, I went to see my twin, and it was just the worst trip I've ever had in my life. And one thing that I kept seeing after that was he was a dead weight, and I was climbing Mount Everest, and I was dragging him on as like a dead weight, and I didn't have the heart to cut him off, and run up the mountain like I wanted to, and I was just being slowed down because I didn't want him to fall down the mountain because then he'd die, and I needed to save him, and blah blah blah, bullshit. After that, I earlier this year I had the vision of cutting that. When I was in the Queen of Swords energy, I had the vision of cutting that weight and just letting him fall down the mountain to his death, pretty much, which sounds super morbid. It doesn't need to be. It just didn't happen really, guys. But that happened, and in the vision, and then a few days later it came again, and I was running up the mountain after that. No, I was running up the mountain anyway. As soon as I did it, I started racing up this mountain, Mount Everest. I was dressed in like this old school Sherpa gear. It was interesting. And then I was running towards some guy that had his back turned to me, and I just assumed that was the soulmate. I was like, yes, wait for me, I'm coming. And then when I finally got there, and this was like maybe a week ago or something, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, when I got there and the guy turned around, it was actually the twin, which was very, very interesting. And I was like, what? It didn't make sense to me. I was like, there must be some mistake. Like, it's my mind playing tricks on me. It's not something that actually came to me. It's something that I've concocted, because that can happen. I'm very aware when it does happen though, but when it's your own stuff, sometimes you can get, you know, a bit clouded by emotion, by whatever. And I was in a very resistant state at that point. Oh gosh, it's over half an hour. I wanted to make this a short video. I need to eat. I need to have my dinner. But I need to study. But last message was basically what that actually meant was, it's so important, those of us who have actually let them go, who actually kind of cut them off and let them die essentially, and stopped holding on for dear life. When you let go, they can let go, and it's only because if you're both connected, obviously, like if one person's still holding on to one hand, the person can't move on and transform and go where they need to go. And because of having the bravery to actually do that, and the faith and the trust to actually do that, that's what causes the transformation, and that's actually what lets them transform and be the person at the top of the mountain who you actually meet there. So that's what I wanted to end on. Amazing stuff, as you can see for yourself, hear for yourself. I hope you guys are having a wonderful time. These energies are just spectacular. I'm finding them very enjoyable, probably because of the yoga and all the sadhana that I'm doing. Sadhana means spiritual practice. I'm enjoying all the synchronicities. I'm enjoying this journey. I'm just feeling so grateful and so lucky to be here. I'm so grateful for all the bad stuff that's happened as well. I'm so grateful for all the good stuff. Obviously, always grateful for the good stuff. But people forget to be grateful about the bad stuff because it's got you where you are. And that's a beautiful thing, because you're here and you can do whatever you want in the future. So I hope you're all having a wonderful time. I'm sending you so much love and positive energy from here, and I really hope that you guys are inspired to do some real yoga when I get back. So if anyone's interested, do message me. I read all the comments. I love reading the comments. And just as a quick response, thank you for the recommendations. I will be checking out Nagla Al-Shami. Another lady messaged about how do you start meditating after you stop. It's really difficult. Yes, it is. I will try and do another video about that. It might have to be when I'm back in the UK in the new year, but it's definitely on my list. And also, just thank you for all the, I'm just loving all the comments about the frogs, about the recommendations, about just what's going on with you guys. And thank you like 1,000 million times. I'm just so wonderfully happy to have you guys all on this journey with me. Like, I know I don't maybe know you all by name or whatever, but even if you don't comment or whatever, I feel your energy and it's beautiful. So you're in my heart. And yes, just sending you so many good vibes, really. And I'm gonna sign off now. But lots of love, and I will message again soon and update you guys. Lots of love. Bye.